Hi now, welcome back to Sport on 7. Now, as you sit at home watching your TV tonight, have a think about the people that are competing in the CrossFit Games. The Games set out to find the fittest people in the world and put competitors through grueling tests as they go through an array of events en route to achieving their goal. One man who hopes to be the fittest is Marcus Smith, and I caught up with him during his training. The UAE flag is being flown all over the world at the moment. The national football side will soon be competing at the London Games. The UAE rugby side are competing in the Asian Five Nations. And Marcus Smith, a UAE resident, is hoping to become the fittest man in the world. He'll be competing in the CrossFit Games 2012. But before he can take on the world, he needs to become the fittest man in Asia. With only one man from Asia getting the chance to compete on the world stage, Marcus has a tough challenge ahead of him, with many athletes up against him.
There's the top 60 men from the first part of the competition were invited to Korea, and about 45 of them are going to be there. So the 45 fittest guys in Asia will be competing for the one spot available to go and compete in the States. I was up there last year. I was 5th last year. So that was the first year it ran. This year I finished the first part of the competition in 9th place, and that was sort of a warm-up for this part. So I've been working quite hard over the last year, and hopefully I'll run out with first place at the weekend. I guess it's just my motto has always been to sort of challenge myself to set pretty aggressive goals. I like to test how far I can push myself physically, and CrossFit tests you across so many different areas. I mean, we do Olympic weightlifting, we do gymnastics, I can walk on my hands 50, 100 metres. It's so diverse, and that's what keeps it interesting. So, pushing the human body as far as we can.
How did it all start for you, though? Was it a case of just going to the gym twice a week or 3 times a week, and then you just got addicted to it and you started wanting to go back all the time?
I guess I sort of fell into CrossFit. I used to play rugby for the Arabian Gulf. I stopped playing that when I was getting a lot of injuries and when I sort of turned 30. And then just before the competition started last year, a friend of mine gave me a call from Australia and said, "This is good for you, why don't you get involved?" So it's only really a year ago that I got into it, and the last year sort of my life's been consumed by it, and I'm doing stuff now that I never thought I'd be able to do. So it's just that, constantly improving and getting better, it is addictive.
A top 5 finish last year in Asia. This year you need to be the best in Asia to get to the US and compete on the world stage. Is that doable?
I believe it is, yeah. I mean, I've been training, I've done everything that I can. We leave tonight. I've done everything that I can to make that possible. Let's see what happens on the day. You just don't know. It's sport, like any sport. Things can happen. I feel that I've prepared in the best way that I can. I've got a great coaching staff, people that look after me, my wife cooking the right food for me. It's down to that detail. So, what lies between me and LA is, how the other competitors turn up. So let's see.
It certainly will be a tough challenge, and for that Marcus keeps the best people around him. One of them is his coach, Dan Harrison, owner of Evolve Gym where Marcus trains. Dan explains how Marcus is ready for the challenge in Korea.
I mean, a lot of the work he's done himself already, just his general background in sport and his love for fitness at first. Then it's just a case of tweaking all the little exercises that CrossFit entails, and making sure that he's staying focused and that his programming's correct, nutrition, supplementation, everything like that, and then just literally breathing down his neck and making sure that he's going full out for the last couple of weeks, which he has done, and I think he's in a pretty good position to do quite well now.
I mean, with so many different events, and whether it's walking on your hands or rowing or whatever weights, what's his strong point? Where does he really come into his own?
Marcus has always had an engine, and what I mean by that is his general cardio inside and his mental focus to be able to push himself through limits. One thing we have worked on is Olympic lifting. It's something that's normally foreign to a general sports player. The Americans are very good at it in their background, but what we're used to is your typical deadlift, bench press, rowing, running, things like that. So bringing things in like that has been a major focal point, and he's worked on it really hard, and now his strength is absolutely tip top, so we're looking forward to it.
Obviously, last year he did very well, but just fell short a little bit in Asia in terms of then getting to the world stage. What's he done in the last year to push himself that little bit more and go for it this time?
Unfortunately, last year he was, because he jumped into it very last minute, he just thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. And he came across a few typical skills that do come up in CrossFit that he'd never practiced before, which let him down in those particular workouts. He's mastered them now, so let's see how he gets on this year.
And if he does get to that world stage, then what different challenges will he face there? Obviously, the world's fittest people in competition together. That can only inspire you when you're up against these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, then you go up against the top 60 in the world, let alone the top 60 in Asia. So you're in a massive arena, 50,000+ people watching you. And then you kind of know once you've reached that stage that, you know, you're the best at your sort of game, as it were. And then it's just a case of seeing how he compares to the rest of the world.
Marcus is determined not to do anything last minute this year. A strict regime has meant that he's been in the gym a lot over the last few months.
At the moment, because I've been tapering the last week, it's only been about an hour, but for the last 3 months it's been about 4 hours a day, which could be anything from sort of really active stretching to gymnastics work to really aggressive workouts. But yeah, average 3 or 4 hours a day, so it's been hectic.
And in the CrossFit Games, I mean, obviously so many different events and different categories. What's the favourite for you? Is it the case of walking on your hands, or what is it for you?
I guess I'm more suited to stuff that's medium to heavyweight that lasts a long time. When I see events that are about 15 to 20 minutes long, I get pretty excited because my metabolic conditioning is quite strong. When the weights get really too heavy, there's a lot of big guys that'll beat me, and when it gets really technical, because I haven't been doing it very long, that's where I suffer. So something around 15 to 20 minute mark where you really have to blow a bit, that's where I like to play.
And how much of a step up is it if you get through the Asian qualifiers and get to the States and compete on that world level? How tough is that going to be compared to what you're going to face in Asia?
It's going to be different, but listen, this finishes on the last days, the 6th of May. The competition in the States starts on the 12th of July. I've got a couple of months. You know, I've progressed in the last 3 months. It's goal by goal. I've got to win on the weekend, and then we'll take it from there. I'm under no illusion that it's going to be harder, but I got more time to prepare. So, you know, step by step, and let's see what happens.
With so many different challenges within the CrossFit Games, it won't be easy for Marcus Smith. But with the preparation and the support he receives here in Dubai, he is definitely in with a good chance. Quite a challenge for Marcus Smith, and next week on Sport on 7 we'll let you know how he got on. Let's move on then to more tips, and this week we go back to Meydan and the Tennis 360 Academy, where Sergio has more tennis tips for us.
My name is Sergio Gaioni, and I'm part of the Tennis 360 coaching team here at the Meydan Tennis Academy. And now I'm going to demonstrate a slightly more advanced backhand. Okay, we're going to start off with the grip. Easiest way to teach someone about the grip is get both hands on the racket, start them in the most basic grip, you know, the continental, and then all you're going to do with the top hand, turn the racket forward a little bit until the hands are comfortable. Okay, hands are touching each other. Okay, and now the racket head is pointing forward a bit more. Instead of like this when we teach the smaller kids, now it's turned into this position. Okay, so we're going to get into the ready position. And the difference here is we're going to put a small loop in the shot. Okay, so we're going to start here. The racket's going to go slightly up. Okay, you're going to step, you're going to drop now, and you're going to hit through the ball and nice and high over our shoulder. Again, what's really important is the angle of the ball, because now we're producing topspin. When we make contact with the ball, we start low, finish up high, and finish over our shoulder. Okay, a good tip with the double-handed backhand is that if our elbows are too close to our body, we can't produce the power. Okay, so you're going to be in this position. We've just found the grip. Okay, the ball is coming. You're going to take the racket back. You're going to put that small little loop in there. You're going to set the racket nice and low. You're going to swing through at that angle, and you're going to come over with your left wrist over the ball and nice and high.
Sport on 7 continues next with all the big results of the last 7 days in sport. Also, we're chatting to Sir Chris Foy, a man heavily involved in getting Britain ready for the London 2012 Games. We are back in a minute. Stay there.